Music isn't always fun at times. It's hard. You get tired and lonely. But music born from such agony delights people more. It's too much pressure. This is a quote by Min Yoongi, a talented musician, and personally, I relate to it a lot. I believe all forms of art work like this, especially forms of art that are monetized or made for other people. Forms of art made under a timeline, a responsibility, and sometimes even competition. Art so often is an escape. At least for me, it is. But this story is about how it caused me so much discomfort and hurt. This story is about me starting to love the journey and of me finding my purpose of doing art. Art, for me, was an escape until the ninth grade. All the skills I had were either self taught or from classes we had in school. It was a skill I would show off with pride to anyone willing to see. Until I chose a subject I had been waiting years to choose, art and design. Throughout the course of the pandemic, my relationship with art went through any and all kinds of swings you can imagine: love, hate, and everything in between. As the assignments started piling up, the pressure hit me like a truck. I spent art classes crying as my teacher kept asking me to turn my video on, and started submitting work I was only half committed to making. I remember when the anxiety got so bad, sitting in front of an incomplete artwork and thinking, I'm never doing art again, at least not for myself. I'll drag my ankles through the mud this year for art and design, but never again. This incident made me realize that activities you can find comfort in and that you used to find comfort in can be a source of discomfort too. Because understanding why you found comfort in the activity is important. The thing about art that made me want to do it was the freedom to make whatever I wanted to make. And with only judgments and criticisms being passed about my work, I didn't want to make art anymore. Another source of anxiety was peer comparison, something all of us have been victims of. I spent art classes thinking, oh, teacher likes him more than me, or my work is so much better, why didn't I get credit, and so on. This would either feed or starve my ego, and I started tumbling down a very dangerous rabbit hole. If the teacher is not going to appreciate my work, why should I put in any effort? I started submitting work with only half of my effort put into it just to fill up my portfolio. And I sunk into a I don't care phase. The lights would stay on till 4 a.m. as I spent days and weeks working in artificial yellow lights. And finally, one thing that did manage to pull me out of this was when my mother asked me to redo one of my pieces. After quite an argument, I agreed, a little because I thought that I really could do better. And I opened my curtains after what felt like years and redid it, in sunlight this time, and did so much better. This made me realize that with a little bit of sunlight and a little more believing in myself, maybe I could do better. Maybe I would like my art again. As the days passed and my prelims got closer, I started realizing I had 7 subjects to study for, not just art. I gave 2 prelims with just a week and a half of Diwali break in between. And soon, in-person classes for the difficult subjects started. With the added travel time and exhaustion of 2-hour-long classes, I sunk into a guilt of not giving my art the time I could, or the time I should. As the pandemic and the quarantine restrictions were fading into the past, I realized no one talked about how hard it was to go from 2 years at home in sweatpants to going out every day, almost overnight. The exhaustion and the guilt, especially as an artist, of not giving art the time I should, was overwhelming. I now believe when you do something, do it for the journey, not the outcome. Because if you work for the outcome, you'll get tired, very tired. I would like to quote Mark Lee, a talented musician who puts into words what I want to say beautifully. I feel like the act of wanting to pursue something may be even more precious than actually becoming that. So I feel like just being in the process itself is a prize. And so you shouldn't think of it as a hard way. And even if you do get stressed, think of it as happy stress. Just enjoy while pursuing it because it's that precious. I couldn't agree more. And even though this year I haven't taken art and design, I am still struggling. But I am committed to taking on digital media and design with a new view, a fresher view. I want to have faith in myself. Some of this is out of fear, since I'm aiming to be a photographer, so I have to be good. But I'm trying to be confident out of belief in myself. I hope that today we all take away from this that doesn't mean you're good at something, you have to do it unless you want to. Because haven't we all realized it isn't as much fun when you're asked to do it, right? Thank you.